Welcome to a video that I've never done before. So I've literally this is the reminiscence of a big fat Chanel haul. Literally twillies, bags, my new jacket. So I've literally just finished filming this haul. And I've decided to film this video. Now this video is not, so yeah, get yourself a drink, sit down on the sofa together. This is not, I've got my little list here. This is not a rant video, so I'm not really interested in doing a rant video about all the things in the world that annoy me. That isn't this video. It's not a video about, I hate two-faced people. I do hate two-faced people. I hate using people. Or there's lots of things I hate. I hate people that copy and take credit for their ideas. It's not about that. I strategically try to choose subjects that I recently, as it's come to my attention and it's just really not right, and I want to shed my light on it. Maybe we can discuss things that I've personally experienced, and I want, maybe there's nothing, like the first point I'm going to make, maybe you don't know anyone in this situation, it's never crossed your mind, and I hope that you learn from something, basically, because these are things that I've learned from my experiences, and it's things that have really annoyed me, and it's just my opinions, really. So never done a video like this before, but I had the idea recently, and there were a few things that were really bugging me, and someone really annoyed me on Instagram the other day. And I said to like my followers, someone's really annoying me, but it's like such a thing close to my heart. I think I'm going to share it in a video, and loads of people said yes, please share it in a video. So, and there were a couple of other things that I felt just as strongly about. So here I am, and I hope it's not going to be an hour long. And I've written my list with 5 things, so I don't go off. Yep, 5. I'm just going to get straight into it. The first thing that annoys me in this world is to do with disabled badges. I think in America they call it handicapped, but in England we have the disabled badge. It's a blue badge for disabled people. Or there's also other things at hospital, like special parking for special, in particular, patients. And I'm really actually feeling angry talking about this now, and I'm going to share with you 2 personal stories that are so meaningful to me. And I know that not every family has a disabled member, or you know, you're not disabled, or maybe you're just blessed that you don't have anyone like that. Like Paris doesn't know anyone disabled, I don't think, and it's something that he'd never thought of before. I unfortunately come from a family where my dad was terminally ill, my aunt was terminally ill with cancer, and she died. I have a lot of people that I know that unfortunately are sick or disabled, so I'm very aware of this situation. The first story I'm going to tell you about is the basics of this. What I'm going to tell you is, it really angers me that people presume that people with disabled badges are, perhaps going to be editing this and be like, what's she going on about now? I hope you're not thinking this, but it's more of a like get to know me, just a chat, just something a bit more different from handbags and shoes, and like literally a film what's on my mind. So back to where we were. You don't have to be elderly, or in a wheelchair to have a disabled badge. And I'm not being condescending to everyone that doesn't know that. Maybe you didn't know that and you're like, oh right, okay, yeah, maybe it's something that I should think about. And please stand up for someone. Don't obviously put yourself at risk, but please maybe stand up for someone when this happens. My aunt, I don't like getting into too much detail about something that's not me, and I want to be respectful to the rest of the family, but my aunt was a very glamorous woman. A lot of people in my family say that we're so similar, because everyone in my family is not like me and not into the things I'm into, even the way I look. A lot of, pretty much all the women in my family are petite and brunette, and we were the same, like 5'6", blonde, blue eyes. She was always really glamorous, and she had terminal cancer, and very close before she went into the hospital and sadly passed, she was going somewhere. My mum was with her. She went to the supermarket, parked in a disabled bay. My mum obviously looked normal, was probably in her early mid-30s then. And my aunt would have been around 40, I think. No, I don't think she was quite 40. And she was very slim, obviously extremely slim at the time. She was unwell. She had a wig on. She had platinum blonde hair, but she had a wig on. So at first glance, she looks pretty healthy, probably more glamorous than most people going to the supermarket. And someone had a go at her really aggressively for parking in disabled bay. And when you get to that point in your life when you are dying, there's bigger priorities in your life, and I think she just walks away. But it definitely upset her. My mum was devastated. My mum was so upset, and from then on it's been on my mind that people do this. Now this is a really personal story. Hand on my heart, this happened, and I was on my own. I don't talk about this at all. You might see the odd Insta story or something of me in hospital, or maybe the odd vlog of me going to a hospital appointment. I'm not here to get into it, but I do have a long-term illness to do with my lungs, and last year, for the last 2 years actually, I've been really ill, and I've been in A&E, rushed to A&E. Literally at one point I was there every week being rushed to A&E, and I was really unwell. And I went to A&E, and then obviously when you've been to A&E and you've been admitted, you have to go for a checkup to make sure everything's fine. So I was doing that. I went to the local hospital, went back to the hospital. I still had my wristband on from being there the night before, the 2 days before, whenever it was. I was so weak. Anyone that has this problem, it doesn't matter what I had, anyone that's been admitted to hospital and rushed to hospital, you're not going to feel right as rain the next day. And without getting into it too much, I am in a position where if I wanted to park in special places, I could, because of what I have, but I don't. And this time when I was going to the hospital, I was so weak, I didn't even have the energy to go there. I still felt so unwell. Because I'm admitted a lot and had this my whole life, I can actually go home and I know all the things to do. I have all like the equipment at home, and I chose to go home on the basis that I go for this checkup. So I forced myself to go back. Paris always comes with me, but because it's quite a regular thing for us and I've been going to hospital quite a lot, he couldn't come with me for whatever reason. He wasn't with me, so I went on my own. I could have walked, but because I was that ill, I drove. And you know what it's like at hospitals, there's not a lot of places to park, especially in London, and the ones that are close to the entrances, there's not that many. There was one parking space less, and I was like, oh god, thank god, like someone's with me today. There's literally a parking spot right by the door, and it was for special. It wasn't for everyone, and I qualified to be in that parking space. I had all the right documents and everything that I put on the windscreen that were for me. And trust me, like, it's not a perk to have these. Like, I would rather walk a mile and be completely healthy, so it's not a good perk at all. It's kind of like a necessity. So I park there, I get out, I'm walking slowly to the door, and yeah, I probably, like, you all know me better than anyone, I probably do look glamorous. Like, if you know me well, you would have seen instantly that I wasn't very well and I didn't look myself. But from someone that didn't know me, like, my hair's gross today. Haven't washed it, done nothing with it, but it's not bad, is it? And I would have definitely had a Chanel bag with me, because that's the bag I carry. I probably looked a little bit glamorous to some people. This man shouted at me. Sorry I've taken 10 minutes to get to this point, but this man was so aggressive to me. He was clearly late for his appointment and took it out on me. And I just remember him going crazy at me, screaming at me from the car in front of everyone. And I'm a really feisty person. I'll be the first, maybe not now when people are like stabbing each other in London, but I'm the first that if someone has a go at me, especially a bully like this, I am the first to stand up for myself and just make them feel that small. And I do it by not shouting or whatever. I'm the sort of person to challenge them and not walk away, just put it that way. I felt so not myself and so weak and so vulnerable and so like worried about my health that the last thing I even wanted to do was argue with this person. I remember feeling like a bit delirious, where I was so tired as well. And I turned around and said, I remember just saying, are you talking to me? And he was saying, you don't qualify to be in that parking space, there's nothing wrong with you, get out the parking space now. And I said, well, if you'd actually looked at the windscreen, I do deserve to be in this and I'm late for my appointment. And I remember like not even having the breath to speak that much, and I walked away. And he started screaming at me in front of everyone, and I swear on my life this happened. He said to me, he just was screaming, and his son in the passenger, who looked about 8 or something, said, Dad, just leave it, just leave it. He looked so worried that, I hate parents that do that as well in front of their kids. And he said to me, if you don't move your car, I'm going to move it for you. And I said, well, I'm not moving it, so you're just going to have to find somewhere else. I walked off, and as I was walking off, he said to me, I hope you effing die a slow, evil death of cancer. That's what he said to me. And because I've had like a family member die of cancer, it was just, oh, I couldn't believe that someone could be. I was in shock. I literally looked at him and I was like, wow, that's one of the worst, I think that's the worst thing someone ever said to me. And it was all because I did glance in the passenger and I saw the boy, and I think he probably did have a wheelchair, so he was just, I don't know, just really angers me. And I've read so many things as well, like old people having to go at young people for being a disabled bae, and it's just something that really annoys me. So if you are in the position where you see someone vulnerable or ill, I can stick up for myself, and I didn't want anyone to stick up for me that day, but I couldn't. And I just want people to be educated on that, and I didn't plan on spending 12 minutes or so on that. So I didn't mean that first one to be that long, and I'm going to do it quicker. The second one is, I just stopped to try and find her messages. She sent me this in February of this year. Now this is to do with accents and how people can judge people by their accent, how people look down on people from A, where they're from, and B, how they speak. And it's not okay. I've had this my whole life. I am from Essex, and it's not just people with from Essex, but people that judge people because of their accent. Like, you literally just think that you're better than a person because of where you're from. I know people that have a more of a like an English accent, like London Queen's English accent, but it means nothing. It literally means nothing. And I have friends that are from Newcastle, Yorkshire. They have the same problem, that people have judged them and their accent. I work in the luxury fashion industry. I've been told before that before I was getting promoted, I needed to change my accent. And I actually argued with my employer and said, okay, so you're insinuating that everybody that has money wants to go and shop with someone that speaks the Queen's English. What about all the people that are from up north and from Essex and has an accent similar to mine that's a bit different? They're going to want to shop with someone, you know, maybe a bit more relatable. And then I proved how many people are actually normal, like Essex and from up north, and you know, I didn't have to go for those lessons and it stayed as I am. So you know, I've had lots of problems like that and refused to let it bother me. I've never changed my accent. I've been around people that speak the same as me and then moved to London and now they speak rah-rah. I call it rah-rah without the rah-rah, when someone speaks like boarding school and just tries to go out of their way to speak posh, but really they're from like Manchester. Like, I literally know someone in a PR agency that speaks so rah-rah, and she's from Manchester, and her whole family has a really Manc accent. Not that there's nothing wrong with people from Manchester, but like, why are you trying to hide where you're from? I know people that when they have a different accent, like, you know, the more normal accent, there's so many different accents, Scottish, all the northern, all the southern. When I meet someone in a luxury PR company and they have one of these accents, I immediately get respect for them because I know how hard they've had to work. It's disgusting. They have to work ultra hard to get in those positions, and they really must be talented and really can get results if they've been accepted into these certain luxury industries. So just touching on that, it is a problem, and it is a problem in so many ways when people judge people from their accents. And I really hope that if you do have an accent, do me a favour and keep that accent and become like the head of your department, become, I don't know, successful in whatever you're doing, and show them that you can still speak with your accent, because that's what I did. There's nothing wrong with my accent. Okay, so this person, I'm not going to share her name and who she is, although I do think these people, I shouldn't protect them, but I'm just not going to. If you are watching this, I hope you realise it is you, and I hope you're really ashamed and learn from this, and you and your husband don't judge people like this again. So she contacts me. Hi Claire, please can you recommend any areas, this is on Instagram DM, recommend any areas to live in that are more rural but commutable to London. That didn't make sense. My husband and I are looking and need as many suggestions as possible. So already it was a little bit like, and we need as if I'm an estate agent, we need as many as possible. It's quite to the point, and I don't have anything to do with this, with what I do as, you know, my Instagram. It's clearly not about that. I'm not going to benefit from this at all. But I have lots of relationships with my followers, and if I open a DM and it's not about bags and shoes or whatever it is, I'll answer. Like, I like having this relationship with you. It's not about me only talking about one thing. I've genuinely got a couple of friends from Instagram that I speak to every day, and I even meet up with them. Like, they've genuinely become my friends. So I take the time to reply to her, and I'm replying to her a lot. I'm saying to her, well, I am from Essex. That's obviously, you know, where I have the most experience. It's where I personally feel that the commute is the best. I also mentioned a couple of other counties, but I said, if you really want help, like literally with towns and villages, I can really help you. I did look to move to Surrey, but it didn't have what we wanted for the commute. It's not as quick and easy. So, you know, Essex has a tube line, for God's sake. So I'm giving her all this advice. And then I make a joke of it, and I'm like, you know, Essex has a bit of a stigma since we have the Towie show, especially since we have the Towie show. For anyone that's not English, it's a reality TV show about people that live in Essex, which is the county which I'm from. And like anything, it's really dramatised. They pick people with you know, there's different accents and dialects in Essex. You've got the really like, all right, babes, and then you've got the normal one that's, I think, like me, and then you've got the one that's more on the outskirts of London, that they basically sound London. We're not all the same. So they've obviously picked the ones that are stereotypically Essex. They definitely make them play up to the stereotype to make it more entertaining. So I even make a joke about that, and I make a bit of a joke about the stigma of an Essex accent. And she said, yeah, I wouldn't really mind this, but my husband just wouldn't stand for Essex. Is there a particular village or other place in the UK, not Essex, that is worth looking at? So already I'm thinking, okay, so you've just completely slagged off. I'm not reading all of the messages, by the way. And I said, sorry, you don't want to live in Essex because of the accent. Yes, his issue is that it's the accent, but also he doesn't like the vibe of of Essex, the people, and he prefers something more quaint, like a village. And he's originally from up north. So already you have no position to judge. Like, being up north, it's not like you're from Mayfair or Chelsea. A lot of people would have things to say about people up north. Not me, obviously, because I have the same issue, but up north is also stereotyped like Essex is. Sorry, this is not making sense to people that aren't in England. It's the same in America, or whatever country you're from. People judge by the accent, and they shouldn't. So I'm like, right, okay, and she just goes on and on. And she says, no, Essex is not a place where I want to live. People still have that view about Essex. And it goes on, and I just completely shut her down. And I just said, I don't know if you're trying to go out of your way to be offensive to me, but I'm an Essex person, and you've just, you know, basically told me you and your husband don't want to live there, and can I be assistance to you to find you somewhere to live? It blew my mind, and I don't want to give away too much detail. But please do not judge anyone by their accent. Like, who do you think you are? Whether it's like a European accent. I once heard a comment about a doctor that had an Eastern European accent, and I was just like, who the hell are you? Like, he's a doctor. I don't know what this other person did, but how dare you? And if you drop dead convulsing on the floor or something, he's going to be the first person to help you. And it just really, I really can't stand this, judging people with accents. Yeah, I just wanted to share that story with you because it blew my mind. I think my mind's gone a bit blank because I've been angry about that lady messaging me. I still can't believe it. I actually have the screenshots because I remember I sent it to my mum. Yeah. I just still can't believe in this day and age people change their accents because the pressure of other people, and I'm so proud of myself for just keeping my accent and being how I am. Next one. Travel social media posts. Okay, so this is something I touched on in my Arizona vlog, and you can also read about it on my Instagram. Being a blogger in particular, I want to speak about this and how I'm so against people getting shots for the gram and travel shots, and it should become like a real thing now. Like, one of the most famous travel bloggers died with his girlfriend photographer in a waterfall. Someone died off a cliff, like falling, taking a selfie. I went to the Horseshoe Bend, and it really hit home with me that I physically, you read all these things all the time, but I physically witnessed within the space of half an hour like 3 people being so irresponsible, like hanging off a cliff to take a selfie, literally hanging off. Like if they let go, they would have died. And they were doing it to like pretend to fall. These 2 well, I don't know if they were bloggers, I don't know why they're risking their life for, hanging off the edge of a cliff, giggling, taking selfies with their legs literally hanging over. Even if they were holding on, the rock could have fallen below them, and it really angered me. And I think this is something that just needs to stop on Instagram. And seeing like people hang out of trains, I'm so against it. And we shot at the Horseshoe, and I've explained it, Horseshoe Bend in Arizona, and I tried to explain it in my Arizona vlog. But we wanted to get the shot of the beautiful scenery. I wanted to get a picture of me there. You have to get relevantly close to the edge-ish, because otherwise there's people all behind you. But there are places at Horseshoe, and for those of you that have been, where you can stand on like a cliff. There's even one right in the middle, like a good 30 meters away from the edge, and you can stand there, and if you position the camera right, it's like you're completely hanging off the edge, but it's only like that far off the ground, and it's way away from the edge. So you can be really clever with how you do your angles, use wide angle lens, and we tried to do that. Well, we did do that. So I definitely want to get that clear, and how against I am all of these travel shots. And if you do see someone, just say to them, like, really think about what you're doing. I said it to someone at the Horseshoe. I waited till they'd really come away because I didn't want to distract them and then they fall. But I did say, like, be careful. Like I think it's become so normal seeing people like this on the edge of the cliff. I think people have lost perspective on how dangerous it is. That also brings me to the last 2 points, are something that I never thought I'd talk about, but another one is a social media thing, and it's breastfeeding. It's something else that really does anger me, and I'm not talking about breastfeeding in public, so that's a whole new issue. I'll put up a picture of something I saw recently, and there was a sign saying cover up while you're breastfeeding, and the woman's got a cover on her head, and I thought that was funny. So I'm not talking about that. It's a shame that this is still like seen as disturbing and something sexual. Like, that's the other problems thing. All I will say on that is that when you are I mean, I'm not a mother, and even I understand this, that when you have a baby, it's good for the woman, the mum's mental state to be going out. It's good for the baby to be going out, and the baby needs to eat. So yeah, that's just madness to me that you can't breastfeed in public, and I'm not talking about that. Mine's talking about breastfeeding on social media. Now, when I see someone breastfeeding on social media, I don't like all the pictures I look at. Like, I try to, especially supporting other bloggers and everything. But whenever I see someone breastfeeding on my Instagram, I always tend to like it, because I do have a moment of like, oh, and I press it. And I think the woman always looks like so happy. Have a look at a woman's face when she is breastfeeding in any picture. They just seem so happy, so content. It's such a beautiful thing. It's natural. And I always seem to gravitate towards it and like it. And I recently come across one, and I saw some comments below, and it was hundreds, and I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. And the reason, and they were all saying how disturbing and unclassy she was. The image was disturbing and she was unclassy. And I just thought, yeah, because trolling is classy, and you degrading a mother for feeding her child is classy. No, that's trashy and dumb. And it made me quite angry. And then it led me to think, even yesterday, I'm at the high street with Paris, like in the town, and these bunch of girls walk past, and I'm like, what's happened to this generation? It's literally the worst generation in terms of like fashion. Like the 80s, 90s, 20s, 30s, like all of the fashion is iconic, and our generation, this generation right now, for like young people, is the worst. There's nothing good I can take from it. I blame like half it is fast fashion. They're just walking around in like fishnet polyester cycling shorts that are transparent with their tummies out, their boobs out, their bums out. I don't know what the hell's happened. And then you put these girls on Instagram, and the pictures that they take, like, it's my worst kind of image that I see on Instagram, and they've got millions of followers and thousands of likes, but yet you get called disturbing and a hoe if you breastfeed on Instagram. And I'm just as someone with a platform, I know it's not as big as what others are, but I'm just someone that just wants to put out there just to try and push out positivity for breastfeeding. I know I'm not going to make a huge difference, but I just want to say that I'm one of the people that really support women that do share this. Like, yeah, there's a line. I don't want to see like someone physically giving birth on Instagram and not be prepared for it, especially if you're not that kind of Instagram anyway. But yeah, I just want to push out there, say my point that these images, like, it is normal to be breastfeeding. And when you're following someone for outfits, I'm not going to name anyone, but I follow a couple of women because I just like their vibe, you know, and I guess they do wear nice fashion, and I like them as a person. I'm sure people follow them for beauty or fashion because that's what their blogs are about. But I think it's lovely that you get to see behind the scenes and see that they're a real person. And people are quick to moan that we only show the best sides of Instagram, but yet when someone wants to show behind the scenes them with no makeup, with a breastfeeding picture, they moan. Lastly, which I think is probably the only on-topic thing that you're going to want to hear about, is luxury shopping and how it angers me how some sales assistants can treat people. Now, before I start, for those of you that don't know, I actually worked in the luxury retail industry for years. I was a fashion specialist at Harrods, so essentially, technically, I was doing the same thing. It was a different role, but I essentially was doing the same things. And then when I left to set up my business, instead of leaving and just finding like some freelance work in my new career, I thought, no, I'm going to stay at Harrods. Like, I live literally across the road. It's going to cost me nothing to walk there. I get a steady wage. I loved working Harrods. I got to keep my discount. I had some friends there, and I wanted some regular income for whilst I set up my business, and I was doing 2 jobs at the same time. And I chose to stay there and just have a part-time job for 2 days a week until I really got a decent income with what I was doing. I did that for a year. So I was a luxury sales associate for a whole year. So before anyone that's watching this is a sales associate and you think I'm judging you, you're not, because I didn't treat people like that. Loads of my friends in the industry don't treat people like that. The essays that I shop with don't treat me like that. But there are, I would say the majority are like what I'm about to share. So I obviously shop a lot of luxury, and I've been shopping luxury for so long. I had a head start that I never had that position where I went straight into walking into a luxury store for the first time and I didn't know what to do. I used to be on the other side, so I instantly used to feel comfortable. I then have been shopping in the same places for years, Harrods or the 2 local boutiques to me in Chelsea, so whether that's Dior or Chanel, whatever it may be. I've shopped in the same 2 places for so long. I'm a black carder at Harrods, so, and I am in there all the time. Like, everybody's like actually a joke. People definitely recognise me like they do hundreds of other people. Like, when I work there, you just recognise faces from people that you see all the time. Not just me. I'm not saying anything like that. Literally, they would know I shop in there a lot. I don't really get judged in there. And if anyone does judge me for a second, they just swipe my card and see that I'm someone that is a high spender. So I don't get treated badly. That's what I'm trying to say. So I get a lot of people message me all the time how nervous they are shopping luxury. I even did a video about it. And I know it happens, and I was trying to share tips. I'll put a description box to that video, a link to that video, because it's quite useful. And I understand it happens. However, the other day, I went into a Chanel that I haven't shopped in before. Should I say who it is? Fine, I will. It's Selfridges. And I've never bought anything in Selfridges Chanel before. I was there for some reason and I just couldn't resist, like, walking back. It was the day after I'd bought all this, so, you know, I'd bought quite a lot. And I wanted to see if they had one more other thing from this design that nowhere else had. So I thought, oh, I'll go and check in Selfridges. So I had literally the whole set already. I knew exactly what was coming in. I walk in there, and I was ill that day, and I didn't look bad. I had like a Love Shack fancy dress on, my grey Chanel bag. I think, like, I don't know, I didn't look bad, but I felt scruffy for me. And instantly when I walked in there, I felt like someone was watching me more than they should. And every room I went into, someone was watching me, like, way too obviously. It was uncomfortable, and it made me feel annoyed, and I promised myself I wasn't going to buy anything because of that. And then this girl come up to me and she said, do you need any help? And I know the response I normally get in the other Chanels, even when it's not my SA. It was more of kind of like a mandatory, do you need any help? I could tell she didn't think I was going to buy anything, and she instantly judged me. And I had like and I know how sales assistants work. They look at your watch, they look at your ring. By the way, I love not wearing my engagement ring. It's just one less thing for people to judge me on how big's her rock, because it does happen. So I was facing this side, my bag was facing the other side, my watch was facing the other side. Anything that she could have detected that made me look like I had money and summarising me could have impacted her decision to judge me. Also, I was being a bit shy, or I didn't feel very well and I felt a bit rough. My dress could have been like, I don't know, misguided for all she knew. It wasn't screaming, it was designer. And I said to her, I knew instantly she'd judge me, and I said to her, oh, I'm looking for, and I told her what I was looking for. And she instantly dismissed me and just said, we don't have that. And I thought, okay, you want to be rude to me, you want to judge me? Then I'm just going to put you in your place, just to let you know that I would never say something like, I shop in here all the time, I've just bought this whole look together here. And I mentioned this jacket in front of Paris. I wasn't even talking to her. And I said, oh look, they've got the jacket, but it's a good job I bought mine, because this is like a size 46 or something. Because Paris was like, oh, you lied, they have loads here. And I said, no, they have one, it's a size 36. And she went, that's sold out, that's not here anymore. And I didn't even say to her, yeah, I know, I bought it yesterday. I didn't even entertain her in that respect. I wasn't even going to say to her, yeah, I bought the whole look yesterday. And I went, okay. And then I asked her for the leggings, and she went, nope, we don't have them. No, these don't exist. And then I said, they do exist, because I bought them yesterday. And I also bought the jacket that also does exist. And oh, she was being so condescending, dismissive, judgmental, and it instantly hit me how everyone else must feel when you message me saying that you feel overwhelmed by going in, and this just needs to stop. I get it that you have to work on commission, and so many people aren't like that, but it is just something I wanted to talk about. And if you are an SA, don't judge people in the way that they look. Like, they might be saving up for their first bag, yeah, and they might not be shopping with you a lot, but if you look after them and make them fall in love with the brand, and they start doing well in life, or they're saving every penny for their bags each month, they'll shop with you. And just don't make someone feel that big, because they made me feel that big, and I'm someone that buys a lot of Chanel. I buy a lot of luxury. I work in luxury fashion. I know it like the back of my hand how this all works. And even I was treated condescendingly. And whenever I go into these places and I look expensive, I get treated so differently. If I walk in anywhere with an Hermes bag, and I'm carrying myself and I'm being assertive, semi-rude, I get treated completely differently, and it just bugs me. So if you are an SA, please treat people nicely. And I'm going to share a story that I shared before in here, really quick because my battery's flashing. But basically, I was working in Harrods. A girl came in that I did feel a little bit sorry for. She was out of her depth, she spoke no English. I was with her for hours. Everybody was saying to me, like, taking the mick out of me at work, saying she's not going to spend anything. But I just felt like she was having a nice day out in Harrods, and even towards the end I was like, God, I'm going to get in trouble because I'm not sold anything today. Everyone was doubting me, saying I shouldn't help her. She looked the opposite to Rich, basically. But I have been brought up not to judge people, treat everyone the same. The girl came back that evening, 5 minutes before we closed. She did my record sale in a day on just ready to wear. She didn't buy any accessories. Everyone was so jealous. All the girls that used to compete with my sales were so jealous. They all wished they'd helped her. They all jumped on her when she came back, and she only ever shopped with me because she knew I was nice to her and didn't judge her. And I still see her to this day walking around. She's like a transformed woman. It's like a pretty woman story. She spoke no English. She didn't look chic or anything. Now she speaks perfect English. She's head to toe Chanel, Hermes bag every day. And she must walk around Harrods thinking, God, like 5 years ago I was just like a young girl with no money, and now look at me. She must think it all the time. So yeah, the bottom of the story is just don't judge people. I think that apart from the dangerous travel thing, don't judge people. Don't judge people on the way that they look, how much money they have, how they speak, where they're from, where they live. Don't judge them if they have a disabled badge. Like, just don't judge people. Treat everyone with kindness. And if you do, it will come back around. I'm panicking because my battery's flashing. So this was a very strange video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribed. If you like these kind of chatty videos, let me know below. Again, experimental video. Don't know if you're going to like it, but it was something I wanted to get off my chest. Just a few things that I want people to be aware of. And I'll see you in the next video.